Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I want to answer a subscriber's question about adjusting a shirt pattern when you have a significant difference between your high bust or chest measurement and your full bust. The reason why this is tricky is because you have a very small vertical amount of room to expand the pattern to fit your full bust, especially if you have a significant difference and your high bust or chest area is significantly smaller. So what I mean by that, and let me just show you for just for illustration purposes here, I'm going to measure my high bust. And to do that, you're going to put the tape measure straight across your back under your arms, and you're going to wrap the tape measure around like this, so it's above your full bust, and that's considered the high bust measurement. And my high bust measurement is 42.5. And then if I reposition my tape measure so it is parallel to the floor and across my fullest area on my bust, that measurement is 44.5. So I go from 42 to 44. So it's a 2-inch difference. That's not a significant difference. And it's pretty easy. If you've got a 2 or 3-inch difference, for example, it's pretty easy to do a full bust adjustment and make enough room without causing too much distortion to the pattern. So what I want to do is talk about how to fit your shirt pattern if you have, like a 5 or 6-inch difference between your high bust and your full bust. Let's take a look at the pattern that I've already adjusted. All of the green that you see is where I've added to the pattern, and then the pink is where I took the pattern in. And if you notice, most of the addition that I'm adding is in the apex area, and all of the area I reduce the pattern is above the bust in that high bust area. Normally you pick your size based on your high bust measurement, and then you let out the pattern with a full bust measurement. Combining this pink adjustment with a full bust adjustment will allow you to maybe pick one size above your high bust measurement, which will give you a little bit more starting room in your full bust area. So let me show you how to do this, and I'll explain it from, starting at the beginning. All right, so here's my pattern. I have my bust start. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw some guidelines. So we're going to draw a line from the tip of the dart straight across to the center front. And then I'm also going to draw a guideline from the notch in the front armhole to the apex. You'll notice that my guideline to my apex is a little bit farther away than the tip of the dart, because remember, the tip of your dart is normally an inch and a quarter, an inch and a half away from your apex. So this guideline goes to the apex, and this goes through the apex. So our next step is I'm going to cut out my dart. And I'm going to cut straight across the pattern like that. And I'm going to cut to the armhole, but not through the armhole. All right, so there is my slashes are all ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide how much of a full bust adjustment you need. In this example here, I did a huge one because I wanted to show that you could add a significant amount. So I did a whole inch here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put a piece of paper and I'm going to tape it to this bottom portion of my pattern. And I'm going to tape it in place. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the center front line straight up so I have a guideline to tape the top part of the pattern back to it. And let's say we're going to do that inch adjustment. Okay, so there's my inch. So now I'm going to tape this part of the pattern back on, like this. So that's giving me all of that room. Because remember, when you do a full bust adjustment, you need both vertical and horizontal space to make room for your bust. Okay, so then I'm also going to spread the slash from the armhole down to the apex an inch as well. Okay, so there's my inch. So I'm going to tape that in place. All right, and just to be tidy, I will stick some paper in here just to be tidy. We'll just fill that in. All right, so now I've created this a pretty good sized bust dart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it with paper. Okay, the next step is I want to redraw my dart. So here is the original tip of the dart was approximately here. So I'm just going to move it up to the middle of the amount that was added right there. And I'm going to redraw that dart to its original side seam like this. And I'm going to measure that. That measures 6.5 inches. So I'm going to have to create a 6.5 inch dart over here as well. So let me just do this. So 6.5 puts me right here. Okay. And then I'm just going to create a shaped side seam now that brings us out to that dart leg. And then I'm going to tape that in place. Okay. And then to finish this dart, I'm going to fold the top dart leg down to my lower dart leg, like that. And I'm going to cut that out, and what it's going to do is it's going to give me the shape, the outer shape of the dart. Okay, so that's what the dart looks like there. Okay, so you can see I've added all of this room. And up here I've started to add this area up here is really approaching our high bust area. So now what I recommend doing after you've added the room for your bust, try on your a muslin. So sew it together, make a muslin, try it on. And if you have looseness up here in your high bust area, let me show you how you can get rid of that as well. And what you can basically do is pin it out, okay, and then make note of how much it was too big over here. And so what you're going to do to reduce that is you're going to create these guidelines. And I'm going to start by making one guideline from the top of my side seam out to, so it extends a little bit past the base of the armhole. Then I'm going to draw a diagonal line from the tip of the shoulder at the neck down to that guideline. And then I'm going to also make a guideline from the tip of the shoulder at the armhole to my diagonal. And then if you follow along with me, you probably remember me talking about control points. A control point is where you can slash the pattern and sort of help the pattern create the shape you want without having it go haywire. So I'm just going to create a couple more slashes in here, and that will allow me to control the pattern when we slide it in. So remember, our goal here is we want to reduce some of the width across the chest. So I am going to cut this line, this line. I'm going to cut this line, and I'm going to cut these control points, or little control slashes. And now what this will allow me to do is, I'm just going to make some pivots by cutting on the outside of the pattern here. What this is going to allow me to do is slide this in and overlap the upper chest or bust area. And I'm just going to let it loose. I'm just going to let it loose on the side seam so I can work with it. I really don't want to change that much, but let's start up here, and I'm just going to pivot this down slightly, and it's going to draw this in. Okay, so I'm overlapping this about a ½ inch by the time I get to here. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape here. And then I can maintain this area by allowing the smaller control points to open up a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, let me just get rid of this extra paper here. I'm just going to cut this away so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So we don't want to change the side seam. Okay, so I want to keep that relatively the same. So I'm just going to tape that. But it is overlapping slightly here, and as we get towards the high bust or chest area, I'm overlapping about a ½ inch. So across the pattern, that's getting rid of an inch of extra ease, you know, depending on how much you need to get rid of. All right, so there is the completed adjustment. Okay, so you can see we opened up this area, and I'm just going to slash it in so you can see this is all added for your full bust. This little bit in here, you have more in here. The dart is larger, and this is all extra fabric. And you can see when I shut this, when I close this dart, it really does make a nice shape. So let me just stick it on here. If I pin that shut and pop this out, you can see that I have a pretty nice shape where we've created room here, but we've reduced the room up in the high bust area. You know, just to illustrate, I'm just going to dash in where now we overlapped. This is all ease we were getting rid of over here. Okay, so I'll just show you. This is all ease we're getting rid of. All right, so that's how you add room to fit your full bust and then take away from your high bust or chest area to get a good fitting pattern. So that's my take on how to choose a size so you can add enough room in your full bust area and then also be able to take out the extra ease in the high bust area. If you have any questions or comments about this, please post them below and I will help you. The one other thing I wanted to mention today is starting next Friday, I'm going to be doing a bathrobe sew along that I'm super excited about. This is the bathrobe. Okay, so you can go to, click the link below in the description to get your copy of the pattern, and we will be starting that a week from this Friday. And of course, during FabFit Friday, I'll have more details about it to share with you. But for now, get your pattern and consider joining me for this fun sew along, because a cozy bathrobe will make an amazing gift for someone on your list, or maybe it's you that needs to be a little cozy. So that's what's coming up in 2 weeks during FabFit Friday. And I'll have more fun this week on Friday as well, don't worry. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you for another Fit Tip Tuesday next week. That showed in my video. Keep that flat. All right.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right. All right. So that's how you...
What was that noise?
Sometimes I get frustrated. Just shh. Stop laughing. Anna, come on, I want to wrap this up.
Okay, sorry.
During these times of COVID-19, I have to share my studio with my daughter, Anna.
You're
And
the
she's
one that
sitting
made
there
that.
in the corner of my workroom laughing her ass off. So I don't know if I can finish this video today.
I just want to say,
Oh my word. Did you realize that producing sewing videos could be this much fun?
I just want to say, since we're literally having this conversation to the camera and, breaking the fourth wall and all, she put me in the corner and then made a She put me in the corner and then made a funny noise, so this is what she gets.
Alrighty then. So